Hey, Andre?
Yo, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up? It's Andy.
How you doing, brother?
I'm good. I'm glad we finally get a chance to talk.
Yeah, man. Definitely. So how's the world treating you out there in LA, bud?
It's beautiful, but stressful, as all over.
As all over. As always, brother. Now, did you get any hurricane action, any bad weather over there?
Oh, no. It's perfect weather out here. I mean, it's a bit hot. It says 86 degrees on my dash.
I can deal with that.
Yeah, a lot better than a hurricane.
I just got back in from South Carolina, so, yeah. I just got back in from South Carolina.
Oh, Jesus.
Up there working. Yeah, I left around midnight, got back home 6:30 this morning.
Were you evacuated?
No, I'm an electrician, man. We're building a Starbucks in South Carolina. So
yeah, but I mean, didn't they tell everybody to get heck on up out of South Carolina?
Well, not all of South Carolina was bad. I mean, I'm coming down the road, and I thought it was going to be bad, but all we had was clouds and some wind, but it wasn't raining.
Well,
I didn't see any rain. No, none at all. I mean, even in North Carolina, we got past Raleigh and still didn't have any rain. It was just, a little bit of wind, but that was it.
Well, I mean, I saw stuff on the news that scared the daylights out of me for all the people I know around there.
Yeah, I know the beach areas got plastered pretty good. Mother Nature for you. Yeah,
well, it's only going to happen all the more if we don't do something about it.
This is true, man. This is true. So I hear you have a daughter, correct?
I do. I have a 4-year-old, and then I have another one on the way in about a week and a half.
Oh, man. Kudos, brother.
Thank you.
Right on, Pops. All right, man. Good stuff. You
guys don't have any kids?
No, we have an 11-year-old, man. 11-year-old daughter, yes. Zoe Love.
Zoe Love. And Love is truly your name. Like, Andre Love isn't a stage name or anything.
No, that's my name, man.
That's what you were born with.
Yep. Andrew Love, my dad. Yeah.
Not bad. That's not a bad way to come into the world. Already.
Hey, man, luck of the draw, I guess, right? Luck of the draw, man.
Yeah. A lot easier to spell than Kyler.
Hey, that ain't too bad, man. You can work with it.
But yeah, I mean, you were kind of born to be on stage with a name like that.
I guess so, man. I mean, I guess so. It's worked out well so far, so I can't complain.
People name themselves that. Like, that's the kind of name somebody picks for the stage.
True that. Hey, luck of the draw for me, brother.
Yeah, it definitely makes you sound more like a crooner. So, Andre Love. Although, I imagine you could croon if you wanted to.
I do all right, man.
I mean,
I do all right.
From your vocals, I'm just saying, like, you definitely have a vocal style that can go a lot of different directions, and that you use in a lot of ways. Yeah,
that's something I guess I just learned over time that, excuse me, I knew I could sing, but when I first started singing, I was kind of nervous about it, and the music we were writing at the time, I didn't know how to approach that with a real vocal. It took me a little while to figure that out. So I kind of rapped everything and kind of screamed everything, but then over time, like I said, I figured I had a voice. I knew I could use it, so it's taken a long time to get it that way.
Were you trained at all formally in terms of vocals?
No, not at all. My dad sings. My sisters, they sing. Family members, man, just, going to church on Sundays and everybody sang. So
were you in a choir or anything like that in church?
No, actually, I played drums in church.
When did you start playing the drums? When did you get your first kit?
Oh, man, I think I got my first kit 5 years old, maybe.
Wow,
it was just a little, little Fisher School Playhouse, type of play school type of kid when I was a kid, you know, and, you know, living in D.C., you know, it's a lot of rhythm in D.C. You hear a lot of go-go. You know, I grew up listening to, like, Chuck Brown, you know, Rare Essence, EU, and it was, you know, just funk rhythm-driven type stuff. So I guess that's kind of where I, you know, picked up listening and playing the drums.
Were you in D.C. proper, or were you always in Northern Virginia?
Oh, no, I'm D.C. proper, man. I was born and raised Walter Reed. So I grew up there and then came out here to Reston. I think we moved to Reston in 79, I think.
How old were you then?
What was I? 9, I think. 8 or 9.
What was that like when you went from D.C. to Reston?
Ooh, that's wow. Man, that's culture change, dude. That's a straight up culture change, man. I went from not knowing any white people at all to moving to Reston and not seeing any black people. So, like I said, it was a culture shock, culture change for me. I had to, you know, kind of just go with it, you know. So that's kind of what I did.
Although there are a lot of black people in Reston. I mean, I don't know about now.
Well, I didn't live on that side of town, man. We had come up out of the ghetto. My mom was like, no, we're not going back to the ghetto. So, you know, she saved up the cash working with AT&T, and we moved to Reston. We moved to a townhouse. I'd never been in a place that had 3 levels, man. It was crazy. It was like, man, we had kids running all around the house. It was nuts.
What was the neighborhood that you moved into?
Right here on Soapstone Drive, man. It was Hearthstone Court.
Close to my area.
There used to be a Hive down the street, man. Before it was like 7-Eleven, Domino's. The cleaners that's down there on Soapstone, they used to be a Hive. When I
remember the Hives with the slushies.
Yeah, dude. Asian dude used to take us fishing. Go sit in the fish and be fishing. It's crazy.
Yeah, we would bike there. I grew up off Slade Drive.
Okay.
So I was right by Lake Audubon.
Right.
Drive. Yeah, right near the wharf.
Now, what year did you graduate?
95.
95, okay.
So I graduated with Tom.
Mhm.
You know, and Ben.
Yeah.
Guys from your former band.
Yeah, man, I remember. So Thomas wasn't in the band, but yeah, Ben was. Big Ben was in there.
I remember Tom playing with you guys though. I remember him.
No, Ben
like,
played with him.
in.
He may have. I mean, that was a long time ago, man. But yeah, I know Ben and Tom. They played together a lot.
Yeah. So maybe they were just hanging out, or maybe they were just grooving on something that wasn't official band stuff. I mean, I remember when you were in Nemesis, there was a guy Nigel.
Yeah, Nigel, man. Yeah, he's another Reston kid. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Ben was playing bass back then.
Well, Ben started out on guitar. It was Nigel and I. Well, Nigel and I worked at Domino's at the time, and you know, he wanted to get together and jam. I said, yeah, sure, we can do that. So went to his townhouse and started hanging out and jamming and whatnot. And we decided, let's get a couple of guys together and see what we can come up with. And I knew about Ben, and Ben wasn't doing anything, so I asked Ben if he wanted to play. And I said, you know of a bass player? And he said, yeah, I do know this one kid. Andrew Burnett?
Yeah, I remember Andy.
Man. Yeah, man, so he became our bass player.
I used to play tennis with Andy Burnett.
Really?
Back in the day, yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah, man.
Everybody. I grew up playing a lot of sports, so everybody at some point, played some sport, played either like tennis or basketball or baseball or swimming. I mean, I knew everybody from playing some sort of sport or going to school with them.
Right.
And I think.
Were you in soccer at all?
Yeah, I played for a Rizzle.
Okay.
I had my yellow team and my brown team and my maroon team.
Now,
the first team.
You remember were you in Reston playing soccer when they had like you talking about all the colors, different colors shirts, and they had like Reston written on it, had like soccer dude on it? Yeah.
How did you know Ben? Like, how did you know him from another band or?
Well, no, he and his brother Ruben, we were friends. We kind of grew up together with another cat named Erskine, and we all went to Terracet and Langston Hughes and South Lakes. We all graduated at the same time, so I knew Ben through Ruben. I watched Ben grow up. I knew Ben when he was just kid.
Yeah.
So that's how I knew Ben, and his brother went to the military. I was still in the area for a hot minute. I left out, came back, and started the whole band thing with Nigel. And when I was working at Domino's, Ben and Thomas used to stop by, and Laurel would be with them, and they would just sit there and shoot the breeze with us. And it just so happens he was playing guitar. I said, "Hey man, you want to jam with us?" He said, "Sure, I'll give it a shot."
And so that's how you met your wife too?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Didn't know her at the time, but yeah. That's how we started hanging out. Yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
I think Thomas and Laurel were actually dating at the time. I didn't know that. I don't know if they were dating at the time. I may or may not have been. But it would be years later that we actually started hanging out.
Well, so that's really interesting that you were a part of kind of two different waves of Reston music, or maybe you could call it like two generations of like Reston bands, because you were sort of a part of that first wave of Reston hardcore in the late '80s, and the first Jam for Man.
I remember that. Remission.
So, how did Remission come together, and who were the different members in Remission?
Well, Dave Gilligan was lead singer for Knothead, and Patrick Kennedy. I'll tell you that story in a little while about Patrick. I believe he was the lead singer for Hostile Environment at the time, and I believe both bands kind of split up. And Dave wanted to keep it going, and Patrick and Ben, I guess it was Patrick and Dave, were talking at one time. Pat said he'd get on bass, and Dave was going to sing. And somebody had told me, I can't remember who it was. It may have been Slow-Mo, man. I think Slow or another cat may have told me that there was a band looking for a drummer. And I said, yeah, I'd try it out. I went out and I bought a kit. And at the time I was working at, what's it called? Was it Pizza Outlet or Pizza Inn up in Hunterswood Shopping Center? I was working there at the time with a bunch of guys. And
not Godfather's Pizza?
No, it wasn't Godfather's, man. It was like on the top level up there, and it used to be the next door to it was like you go in the door and you go downstairs into, what was that, like a CVS or something?
Okay.
Yeah, it was in that. It was in like that little corner right there. I remember it was Pizza.
Yeah, you had the pizza thing on lockdown.
Yeah, dude, it was fun. Everybody did, man. That's how us kids got our money. So yeah, I remember looking up with these guys.
You actually proper tried out for the band? Yeah.
Well, the first practice we were supposed to have, I couldn't make it because I was still at work. So they were like, man, I don't know, dude. He couldn't make the first week of practice, so, But they gave me another shot at it, and I got to practice, and I believe Jason Rowley, the guitar player, wasn't there. Somebody else didn't show up the next week we got together, but I showed up and, set my stuff up, and, we had a quick jam session. We finally got it together. We were all able to get together like a third practice and just mess around a little bit, try to feel each other out. And
great.
I remember these guys saying, we want to try and play at the Jam for Man. I said, what's the Jam for Man? Oh, it's going to be the show. You know, these guys are setting it up from Avail, and you know, we were hanging out with Avail, and it was Remission. It was a bunch of bands, LDK, and I guess Ron decided he wanted to do something, and Joe Banks was like, yeah, let's rock. Let's do it. Let's put together a show. And they got all the neighborhood bands to come in and participate.
So was that your first like live performance outside of like somebody's house?
Yeah. Yep. It was my first band was Remission.
And that was your first like real performance in your entire life, like out in
drums,
at a proper venue, if you can call it that.
Yeah. Yes, you can. Yeah.
And so, what did that feel like at the time?
Wasn't nervous because I mean I've already played in front of people with like the marching band, so it wasn't a problem of playing in front of people. It was more just kind of looking out over everybody and like, yeah, it's kind of cool. So let's make sure I don't mess up.
What about the adrenaline? Did you have like adrenaline pumping?
Not really, man. Not really. I wasn't numb to it, but said my goal was, since it's going to be my first show, I don't want to pump myself up too much and be driving too hard that I mess up. So I kind of focused on the task at hand and got up there and played. I mean, we had practiced for so many times and we had practiced so long to go up there and play. I figured I've got to approach this like I don't want to mess up. So,
what do you think? What was like your big song that the crowd responded to?
It might be At Loss, because I know that was a song that Dave wrote. We changed it up a little bit when Jason and I were playing in the band. It changed up a little bit, but I would say it had to be At Loss, because everybody already knew the lyrics and the words to it, if not had played it.
My thoughts within are far ahead, yet they still get caught behind. Tensions falling back into the wake of my own mind. Lasting feelings holding back what the others seem to steal. If I could only feel your feelings, know exactly what for real. And lost for words and actions, sometimes holding much inside. I need to know my place in life, just where do I reside? See you standing right before me, through the rise, thoughts are leaking. My frustrations made me turn silent, never speaking, silent, never speaking. Silent, never speaking. I've accepted imperfection, and I stop my asking why when my wings are spread so far. Yet still I cannot fly. Wind can't take me on its own. Takes strength of mine. Learn to fly, no limitations. Learn to fly so high. Fly so high. Fly so high.
What about in terms of songs that you guys wrote all as a band together?
Well, it might be temperamental.
What was your process if you remember anything from those times? What how did that song come about?
It was more Jason. Jason had ideas in his head, things that he wanted to play. We weren't a punk band. I mean, there was nothing punk about Remission. It was things weren't designed in straight 4/4, but in a 4/4 type of progression where the chords and the notes and the things that Jason was doing, he tried to make things stand out. I think he listened to a lot of Rush, man, if you listen to his style. He's got some really cool runs, so I tried to follow him as much as I could. And when Pat was playing bass, Pat would kind of feed off of what Jason was doing, and, we would just kind of write like that.
Well, there's some really great musicians that you're talking about. From
Patrick Kennedy?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, he was killer on bass, man.
Those guys are really good musicians.
Yeah, Jason Radley he said he wasn't a conventional guitar player. I'm sure he listened to punk. We never listened to any punk, but whenever he played, he was very melodic, very rudimental with his fingers when he played. He liked to work up and down the neck. So,
what were you listening to? What were your influences at that time?
Man, I don't know. I was in a bit of everything at that time because, like I say, I was in R&B already, but it was a matter of, let me listen to a lot of stuff that these guys listen to and try and get an idea of, what they listen to. Start listening to Fugazi, man. And hanging out with Slow-Mo, Kevin. He turned me on like MOD and SOD, Cro-Mags. I was hanging out with this Asian dude when we were working at the pizza joint. I went on the delivery with him, and he says, "Hey, man, you ever heard of a band called Bad Brains?" I said, "Bad Brains? What is a Bad Brains?" So he puts it in the tape player, man. Yeah, it was a tape player back then. And he puts the tape in the tape player and starts playing these dudes. I'm like, damn, these dudes are pretty good. He tells me it's like 4 black dudes out of the D.C. area. Like, really? So listen to the whole tape. I'm like, dude, I'm digging that, man. So
did it mean anything to you? Did it mean anything to you in terms of like 4 black dudes in the band, playing that kind of progressive rock?
Yeah, it did. It really did, because you had already had black guys playing rock, but it wasn't that style of music, not to my knowledge. I mean, you had Jimmy doing his thing, you know. You had B.B. King doing his thing. You had musicians from all just black musicians playing rock, but it wasn't along those lines, the way they fused their style together. It was totally different. They weren't playing just mainstream type of stuff.
No, I mean, they were playing punk rock. You didn't see any black guys playing that kind of music.
No.
Other than Bad Brains.
Yeah.
I mean, apparently later on I found out about Death, and that was only like a few years ago that I even found out about them. They were a band out of Detroit doing that. But, you know, I mean, growing up in D.C., like, to see four guys in D.C., that's
doing it the way they were doing it.
That's
kind of
interesting.
Doing it the way they were doing it and doing it on their own terms. And they brought with the music.
In Reston, I mean, I haven't asked anybody else this, you know, but in Reston, did you feel like that you faced any sort of, I don't know, racism within the music scene? Or even just people like being surprised about the sound of your band or anything like that, or the style of music you played?
I don't think so, man. People were pretty supportive of it. You know, like I said, a lot of it, I didn't pay too much attention to it. I didn't hear anybody, you know, talking under their breath about me, so it wasn't something that I really worried about or thought about. You know, it was never in my mind. So what we were playing at the time, it was different, but people still came out and supported it.
Yeah, I mean, there were pretty huge crowds at those Jamfer Man.
Yeah.
I mean, there were people around the building, at least at the community center, because they could only let like 300 people in. There were at least a few hundred people outside.
Yeah, there were always people outside. The first one we played, it was a lot of fun to see all the people out there. And then, you know, we were loading up our gear and, you know, going out front, hanging out and saying thank you to people and going around back. I mean, it was a lot of people there.
What did you think about the other bands that were on the ticket?
Stellar. I mean, Avail was beast, man. Transilliance, especially Transilliance, man. Spooky's nuts. That's a bad dude on the guitar, man. When Transilliance played, they were like a step above everything because they brought something to the table. Nobody knew what was going to happen when they got up there and played. And I mean, people were floored, man, because Andy Johnson playing with like his pinky, it was crazy.
You talk about Rush, like they were doing something that was almost like prog metal.
Yeah. I think. I mean, basically, the bands that were coming out of Reston, we were all different in our own ways. You know, LDK was different. Hostile Environment was different. Knothead was different. Avail was different. You had Transilliance. I mean, Remission. All those bands were so different from each other.
Did you think about any of those bands like expecting them to get really big? I mean, did you think like, oh, some of these bands have a chance to actually be huge, not just in Reston, but like, these guys could be real rock stars.
No, at first I didn't, but I could see Avail, and I knew the direction they were going because Joe was like, look, man, we put too much effort and too much work into this thing to not do anything with it, and people like it, so let's take it a step further. If we're going to do it, let's go and do it. So Avail stuck with it, man. I had a feeling Spooky would do something different because I wouldn't say he was a loner, but he was very trained in his guitar skills, and you knew that kid practiced. So I had a feeling he would definitely do something.
Have you followed the careers of the different bands? Like
I followed Spooky for a little while. I jumped off for a little while, man, but I followed his career for a good long time, man. I believe is he still in Canada or is he in New York now?
He's in Los Angeles.
He's in LA now. Good God.
Yeah.
I've been off the grid for a minute. I gotta catch up with that.
Yeah. And, he's got a show tomorrow at Cantor's, and then we're gonna go see Carter's band JFX.
Oh, sweet, man. Carter Bush?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So speaking of knotheads.
Yeah, man. Excellent.
So, and I mean, that's part of what this show is about, because it's amazing, it's amazing the music that people made while they were part of the scene, and then also how they continued to branch off and continue to have really interesting careers.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's not to say that you get into it to be a rock star or do all these other things. You get into it because it's the love of the music, and if you're good enough, hey man, you probably pay some bills with it.
Yeah, but look, if you can continue to make music your whole life, and you're able to find either a balance of paying bills with it, or
bonus, man.
Or just getting into a position where you have enough free time and energy to play and make music and continue to make it, that's great.
Yeah, it's a bonus. It's a total plus when you actually have the chance to take the skills and the God-given talents that you've been blessed with, however you want to say it, whether you're schooled or not in the arts. If you're fortunate enough to take it to the next level, it's a good thing, man. Not a lot of people look at it in that light, but yeah, if you got the skills, man, use them. See how good you are. Test yourself. Eventually, it'll pay off.
In terms of Remission, what happened to you guys?
Oh, I knew that was probably not going to go far because Jason's parents, like, no, you're going to school. Patrick, he had his own way of doing things. He was going to go his own direction. And Dave, I knew his parents wanted him to go to school. So we played the last show. I think it was in D.C. somewhere, I believe, man. And I knew those guys were getting ready to graduate, so that was kind of it for us.
Have you followed any of them? I mean, I think Jason continues to make music. I don't know about Pat.
I remember Pat for a little while. He joined Avail for a little while, but that was pretty much the last I heard him talk to Pat. I haven't heard from any of those guys in a long time, man.
That's too bad. Well, maybe they'll hear about this and they'll reach out and you guys can get back in touch.
Hope so. David, Jason, y'all listen up, man.
Definitely. And those guys, there's an open invitation to all of them if they want to come on for an interview and tell their part of the story.
Definitely. It'd be cool to hear.
This is all about an oral history, and I'm trying to get everybody's point of view.
Yeah, man. Definitely. Yeah, the music was a lot of fun when we were out playing. And just playing with all the bands when we played with them, it was to me it was a learning experience and a growing experience to listen to those different styles of music coming from all these guys, girls, just kids. Because, I was only in my 20s. I wasn't, I don't think I could even buy beer yet at the time. I think I was maybe 20 when I got with these guys. And, it was a learning experience for me to, sit down and create with these guys and listen to their ideas when it came to music, and just becoming friends with them.
Well, so Remission did record a few songs. You were able to send me, I think there was like 5 songs or something like that on the disc. Are these the only songs that you guys ever properly recorded? No,
I think we recorded, what did we record, like 8 songs. The first album we did was Fix. That was the first demo we did. And I think I may have sent you Construction, Window, Temperamental, and At Loss, I believe. I think I sent you Puppet Man, too.
Yeah. Which
was another really good song. I like Puppet Man. I love the message behind it.
Yeah. Where did you record all this stuff?
It was a guy's house in Sterling, I believe, man. Gosh, his name escapes me. Let me think about this for a second here. Man, what was that guy's name? I know we were in Sterling. And I remember Joe helped mix it. It was, I think the dude's name was John. Maybe been John, man.
Was it a proper studio?
No, dude, it was at the dude's house.
Just on a 4-track, or?
No, I think it was either ADAT or reel to reel. I think it may have been 8 tracks, I believe. But Joe Banks did a lot to help, but the engineer, man, he was good. It was a nice mix. Everything sounded really cool when it was done.
What did you guys do with it?
Oh no, we sold it. They were selling them out the back of the cars, man.
You remember how much you guys sold your tape for?
I have maybe $3 or $5 or something. Some of them may have been given out, man, just giving them out for free.
Did you guys send any off to record labels or anything like that, or management?
I don't think so. Except for us, it was more fun than anything, because I knew at the end of the day if they were really going to do something and be serious about it, then we would have talked a little bit more about it. But where they were in their lives, just growing up and getting through high school was more important than trying to get signed, especially to their parents. So, I gotta respect that from a kid's parents. Gotta get out of high school first and then think about what it is you want to do. If you're going to college and your parents say you're going to college, you better take that free ride, man. Like, the band I'm in now, Soulcraft, we've been together 11 years now. And it's a 3-piece. And we like the setup that we have. It's worked for us. And I'm always asking, is everybody cool? We still jamming? They're like, yeah, let's go play,
And who are the guys in the band now?
One guy, his name is Dan Curtis. Call him DC. He's our guitar player. And Jay Martinez he's actually a wrestling kid too. He grew up listening to Remission, Split Decision, if you remember those guys, Mike Beal.
Before we get more into Soulcraft, you played somewhat in Split Decision, right?
Yeah, I was a drummer. I think Gabe was a drummer at first, but I don't know. I didn't. Gabe was playing with Crunchy Water at the time, I believe, as well. So he couldn't, commit the time to playing with Crunchy Water and Split Decision. So Mike Beal had hit me up. I had just come out of playing with a go-go band out of Manassas. Well, actually out of Herndon when they first started there. And I was playing trombone for those guys. And
what?
after I left that, yeah.
You played trombone too?
Yeah. When I was a kid growing up in D.C., I wanted to play an instrument, just to, I needed something to do, and for me it was an easy way to get out of class. So I took up trombone when I was a kid, and through high school I played freshman football. My first year in freshman football, I got out because it just wasn't my thing. I was like, man, I want to play music, so I went back and started playing trombone again, and got into the marching band. My freshman year, I played trombone.
What was the name of the go-go band that you played in Herndon with?
Oh, Unity. Unity Band and Show.
You remember any of the guys?
Oh, yeah, man. It was the Briscoe family. Dana Briscoe, Tyrone Briscoe, his sister, I want to say, was it Shauna, and a bunch of other cats that they knew. The Briscoes, they all went to South Lakes. They grew up in the Reston area.
Huh. Yeah, because there are a few go-go bands that I hear about, but there aren't that many like recordings of all these bands. I just interviewed Justice Johnson recently, who's a hip hop producer, and he went to Herndon, and he said he started out playing in a go-go band out in Herndon also.
Well, I'm trying to remember when Split Decision was playing. It was myself, it was Mike Beal, Tarek, Steve Cater, I believe, playing on the front. And this white dude that played the keyboards, man. I think we called him the Doctor. I couldn't remember his name, man. But he was awesome. And the guitar player was none other than Ron Winters. I'm sorry, not Split Decision, Unity. When I played with Unity. Ron Winters was the guitar player for Unity before he did Branch Manager.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
it's interesting how many people played in go-go bands and then also played in punk bands and rock bands and stuff like that too. It just shows you kind of the vibe of the area.
Yeah.
DC suburbs like Northern Virginia.
Well, there's no prejudice in music, man.
No, not at all.
Yeah, pretty much proves that with the style of music that was being played and the style of music that we listened to when we were kids.
So, where were you playing when you were playing in the go-go band? Was it just
Unity? With Unity, we played a lot in D.C., Maryland, VA areas. We opened up for Chuck Brown a lot. We opened up for Junkyard a lot. Opened up for RE a lot. Opened up for EU a lot. Did a lot of outdoor festival type things. And I remember they had a single. I think it was called Hustler's Ball. Don't know whatever happened to it, but it was a really good song that the band had written. And Split Decision, we played a lot in this area, but we went up to Richmond quite a bit. We used to play at a place called, Metro Club or something like that in Richmond. We would play there a lot.
Man, you guys really did some for real shows.
Yeah. Yes, Split Decision was a good band, man. I mean, we weren't just playing go-go. We were playing our brand of go-go, which was actual, music. We were writing songs for what we were doing. And at the time, a lot of go-go bands weren't doing that. They would, take the top 40 and turn it into a go-go song. But with Decision, and even, with Unity, these bands were actually writing their own stuff. And with Split Decision, it had that go-go element to it, but the music was more, it was more funk. It had groove to it. It wasn't just straight go-go. We would put a pocket in there. We would put a nasty little go-go pocket in there, but it was actual music that we were playing,
Yeah, well, it's kind of amazing how funky people from Reston could get.
Hey, man, they're running with the brothers. Seriously, man. I mean, if you think about it, a lot of kids back in the day weren't really, they were picking up on vibes of music that they really didn't like. Or they just listened to what their parents listened to when they were younger, and they picked up on that vibe. And they got that bug in them. They started listening to different styles of music other than what was on the radio. So, like I said, you know, a lot of us just didn't listen to the radio. We had our own style of music going on, and the stuff we listened to, they didn't play on the radio.
Well, so what happened to Split Decision? What if that band was so good and, you know, playing all over the place and had your own thing going on, why did Split Decision break?
I guess, you know, people had other things going on. You know, I was playing with another band, and, you know, I wanted to get out there and explore what I was doing. You know, Nemesis was getting started up for me. So I wanted to see what I could do with that band. The keyboard player, I think he had things going on. Tower Cat stuff going on, man. You know, everybody, the band kind of just kind of split up. Everybody has other things going on in their lives. Getting older, you know.
Now Nemesis is really different from the rest of the stuff in your catalog.
Yeah, that was a really cool experiment for myself to see what could I actually do as a musician. I'd never, you know, experienced anything like that on my own. I'd always played with other people, but when I, you know, had to actually put a band together, it was totally different.
And so that was more, you know, your baby, like you were crafting most of the songs, singing, playing, you know, choosing the lineup of the band.
Well, it wasn't more like choosing the lineup of the band. To me, I was like, man, can we find a guitar player? Cool. Hey, Ben, you want to play? Sure, okay. It wasn't a tryout. We just got together. He knew of a bass player. Hey, Andy, you want to jam with us? Yeah, sure. Okay, cool. Can we practice at your house? That's cool. His mom said, okay. We practice there. You know, I wasn't looking for anything specific. I was just trying to get some guys together and say, hey, now let's start a band. Let's see what happens.
And you're, you know, what you were doing vocally is very, like, you know, it's rap rock, but like definitely before rap rock was hitting big.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It was a total experiment for me, man. Yeah, it was one of those things that nobody was doing it.
Yeah, I can't imagine that you'd really heard anybody doing that before you just started doing it.
I don't think so. Not unless Judgment Night came out before I started doing it. I don't think they did. No, Pearl Jam hadn't come out yet. Nope.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's before Judgment Night. It's before Rage Against the Machine. And it's obviously different than, like, what Anthony was doing with the Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
It's
like
certainly
I said,
more along the line of what became the standard, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years later.
Yeah, they definitely took that and ran with it. And it sounds a heck of a lot better than me doing it, that's for sure.
Yeah, but you were cutting edge. You know?
Yeah, like I said, man, first version, you know, coming from a guy that was supposed to be singing and stuff, but the experiment was still ongoing, so I really didn't know how to come across singing the music and playing the drums at the same time. I think that was more of the problem I was having was I wanted to concentrate on playing the drums because the music is really important to get out there. I knew I could sing the song if I rapped it off, but for me the music was more important. Don't forget, you know, the drummer, I don't set up front. I stay in the back. So, you know, I don't want people to concentrate so much on me being a front man or what I'm doing or what I'm singing or what. Just listen to the whole song in itself and, you know, just kind of made everything work.
I have a dream. One day, this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed.
Cover yourself, so don't forget. See your face, hide behind the rules you believe in. Discriminate, you segregate, and don't allow others into your lifestyle. Some say you see, that's what you hurt. Some say they'll drop your faces in the dirt. And then you too well understand when they say, wake up. Cause life knows no color. Wake up. Cause love knows no color. Wake up. You think color is a one-way street? Wake up. Back in the day, you used to say that we were all minorities, that we didn't deserve to walk the same ground as still. You disagree, eliminate all hope we have, and believing that we can live together. I hope the God that you will understand when they say, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Cause life knows no color. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Cause love knows no color. Wake up, wake up, wake up.
I was writing the songs, like a lot of the stuff, like when our first album, I was at home for like a week, man, and just playing on the guitar. I bought this guitar from this dude as I was driving up the street, and he was having a yard sale, and he had a Gibson Les Paul and like this little big, like, 40-watt amp, and he was selling stuff like $100.
Whoa.
I was like, well, heck, man, I need a guitar and an amp. This dude's selling it for $100. So I went to the bank, got $100, told the dude, look, I'll be right back. He'd already taken the stuff inside. He gave me his address. I went to his place, gave him $100. He gave me the guitar and the amp. So that's when I picked up the guitar. And when I started playing, I'm left-handed. I just bought a right-handed guitar. I'm like, how the hell do you play this thing, man? I've never played guitar before. So I basically started to down-tune it a little bit and started playing in drop D. That's how I learned to play guitar. I played in drop D.
Some of my best songs I've ever written are drop D.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I taught myself how to play. I didn't play in standard tuning, so everything that Nemesis wrote was in drop D.
Makes sense.
And at the time, nobody was playing anything at drop D because we were playing in drop D and we were like rapping and doing all the stuff that it hadn't been done yet. Everybody was still playing the standard tuning at the time when we were playing.
Well, the thing about playing in drop D is it's like you're playing the bass line yourself too.
Yeah.
So it's like you're keeping that like bass rhythm going.
Yeah. Everything I was writing at the time was kind of rhythm driven. Everything was rhythm driven at the time, just to drive the rhythm and the verse and the chorus and the bridge, just drive them and put the lyrics to it and make it sound as hard as we could for what we were doing.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is hard. It's harder than the sound of anything from Remission, obviously.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I really like the bridges in the songs. I like the bridges where you guys will get a little bit more melodic and a little bit prettier. I mean, I like the juxtaposition of it against some of the harder stuff, and I also just like the way your vocals sound when you're, singing a little bit more on notes rather than,
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, when we were, like, writing the bridges for the songs, when we were playing, we'd come out of the chorus of a song, and we had to kind of make it stand out a little bit. So when we transitioned back into the verse or the chorus, whatever we transitioned into, it had to have some power behind it, more than the verse and the chorus did. Make it stand out, make it jump out a little bit. The story that you're telling, and you get to that climactic, that point in the song where it's got to be different, it's got to be bigger.
how long did it take you in between like Nemesis and that sort of ending before you picked up with Soulcraft?
Well, after Nemesis, after we split up, took some time off. I think I took a couple of years off, man. I did some solo stuff. And I actually got permission to record when I was recording this one album under the name Age of Aggression. I wrote a bunch of songs for this stuff, and that's when I started doing a lot of reggae, too. I got permission to do the theme from, you know, Oompa Loompa from Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
So I was given permission to, you know, use the Oompa Loompa part and write a song with it. So I just took all the lyrics from all the different parts. What do you get from a glut of TV, a pain in the neck, and an IQ of 3, all that. I put all that together, all those different parts, and put a song together.
Nice.
So, yeah, that was pretty interesting. I did a lot of that.
What were you doing that for?
Just personal benefit, man. You know, just putting together a portfolio. At the time, I really wasn't looking for a band to play with. It was just so I had gone through this whole stage of buying a guitar and writing music and writing vocals and writing lyrics. I mean, doing all this stuff. I got to the point where it's like, well, I still want to record because I still have all the stuff in my brain. So, you know, I would set up my drums in my condo, and I would, every Christmas, I would set up my drum set, and I would take my 4-track out, man, and I would play the drums, and then get all that mixed together, and then I play the guitar to the stuff, and then mix that, and then I play the bass, and then I would sing on top of it. So I would just keep all this stuff just for, you know, just for my portfolio, so I would never lose track of it. And eventually, if I did get into another band, we might be able to play some of it. We'll see what happens. So eventually, I got into another band, guys that I met at Jimmy's Old Town Tavern, if you know where that place is in Herndon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to open mic night. Jimmy's had just opened like 9 months after we went up there. Laurel and I went up there. And the first night we went there was her 21st birthday. So, yeah, 6 degrees of separation all over this freaking story, man. It's everywhere. I'll get to you about Pat Kennedy. I won't forget about that one. But we went up to Laurel and I went to Jimmy's, and it just so happened it was open mic night. And I'm up there just hanging out and just listening to the bands and the music. And these guys keep looking at me and pointing me out and staring at me. Later on, you know, before we get ready to leave, this guy comes up to me and said, "Hey, man, you're Andre Love, right? You play for Remission." I said, "Yeah, a long time ago, man. Hey, man, you know, you should come down and get an open mic with us, man. I hear you're a pretty good drummer. You should come and sit in with us." I said, "Okay." Talked to Laurel about it. We went back the following Wednesday. So I went up there and I played a song with these cats. "Hey, man, why don't you sit around? Stick around for a minute, man." So I stuck around. "Hey, you want to come and play?" I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll play." And from that second song, we were there until like 2 in the morning. All those, you know, those years we go there and we're hanging out. Months later, weeks later, I started jamming with these guys, and they decided, "Hey, man, let's get a band together." I said, "Okay, see what happens." And that's when we started the band Warriors.
Come out to play.
Yeah, exactly.
Speak our minds freely, passion flowing through every word.
So that's, we started a band out of Jimmy's Old Town Tavern. I started meeting a lot of people out of there. A lot of really good musicians are coming out of Jimmy's. There's a band called Nomad. You ever heard of those guys? Nomad?
Not yet, but now I know.
Yeah. There's a long time ago, man. Some young kids. What was the young guitar player's name? His mom was the violin teacher at South Lakes, Mrs. Sollenberger. What was his son's name? Well, he played in the band Nomad. But yeah, a kid named Sollenberger. He was a guitar player for the band Nomad. Really good band, and they were young kids. They were underage, and Jimmy would let them come in and play. So that's, another one of those things out there. Well, with Nemesis, we actually got to play the last Jam for Man that they ever had, and that was at the community center, which was really cool.
Now, was that 94?
90.
Or was that 93? 95. I don't remember it going all the way till 95 because I didn't get a chance to see the real early one.
Yeah, well, I've got one of those banners, man. Sun Monkeys, None of the Above, Nemesis. Good God, there was somebody else that played on that show. All right, so the banner I have here it says "Can't Touch This" on the top. I don't know if you remember that or not, but it was kind of like a Halloween jam, I think, man. Let me see. And matter of fact, was it Dave? I think it was Dave Gilligan that used to do the artwork on all of the banners.
Back in the day, well, maybe Dave did some. Fan did a lot of them.
Fan did a lot of it too, yeah. Let me see whose name is on the bottom of this one here. It's a really nice. It's 1991, but it's a really nice signature, and I cannot read that sucker. But it's got a skeleton on the bottom of it, and Repercussion played. Let's see, Sun Monkeys played, None of the Above played, Remission played, and there was another band called Harry. What was it? Harri? You ever heard of them?
Never heard of them either.
Yeah, they played at the one in 91.
We'll have to see if we can track down anybody that knows about them.
Yeah, but I remember Repercussion, dude. They were pretty good too. We Split Decision played on the football field that year.
Yeah.
For the Jam for Man at South Lakes.
Yeah,
I remember that show.
Brian, because he put up the Avail footage from that one. So maybe there is Split Decision footage from that Jam for Man.
There might be. Well, there might be because I was up there playing. I think I had a broken finger, a broken forearm or something at the time, and I had a cast on my right arm while I was playing. So I took the drumstick and I hinged it inside my cast and played the show.
That's really punk rock.
Yeah, we were playing basketball. Somebody pulled me off the rim, and when I came down, I fell on my arm, and I busted something up in there. I was like, well, we got to play. We can't get out of it because these guys aren't going to let me get out of it. So I figured out a way. I just took a drumstick, man, and shoved it down in there and kept playing.
The show must go on, Andre.
Hey, man, don't have a choice, baby.
So, was your plan to play drums professionally?
It was, yes. It was. Hasn't been so bad thus far. If I go a little further, it would have been nice. But, fell into bigger and better things, I'd say.
And so what's going on with Soulcraft right now?
Soulcraft, we are finishing up, I want to say, our 4th album right now. I've got a couple more songs to put lyrics on, and I guess they're just waiting on like they always do. And hopefully we can get that out by the beginning of the year.
Do you have a name for the new album?
Not yet. Haven't come up with a name for the new album yet. Because every album we've put out so far, the music is so different from the next album or the last album. I think this one's got a little bit more hardcore to it. Our version of hardcore, a little bit more punk in it. And, it's like I said, it's our version of what we do musically. You'd be surprised. I mean, everything's always different when it comes to my writing style.
What is the scene like there now?
I don't see much of a scene here anymore, man. I really don't. The scene in the whole area, you can still find venues in the area to play, but a lot of those venues nowadays just, they want cover bands. So in order to really, in order to get out and really do anything, you got to go away from home.
You don't feel like you're part of any, like there are several groups around or there's any sort of community.
If there's anything going on in this area, I don't see it. No, if there's anything going on here, I really don't see it. I don't hear about it. If there is anything going on around this area, then they would be smart to try and, any bands that are in this area, they would be smart to get with the other bands and work together in their community to bring the awareness of their bands to their community. That's where you're going to start. You got to start in your hometown.
So that band like Nomad that you were talking about, they're no longer, and
no, that was they kind of split up when same thing happened with them that happens with a lot of bands. It's time to go to school, so it's either try to make it as a rock star. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But if your parents are paying for you to go to school, you take that free ride.
Yep. Well, that's a shame to hear about, considering you were the standard bearer for a long time for Ruston music and Northern Virginia music.
Well, I like to think I was just one of those cats that kind of stuck around and played in the area with different musicians and have had a lot of fun doing it so far.
Well, you are. You are, but I mean, you've been a part of several scenes and a part of, at least a collection of musicians from the area who have played in many bands and sort of bear that, that early influence of Fugazi and Go-Go. Yeah,
well, I'd like to thank all the cats that gave me the chance to hang out with them and understand them, and them understanding me, and let me crash on their couch and in the garages. Tim Barry, appreciate it, bro. And DJ Grounds, appreciate it, bro. And just learning from these kids, just learning from all these cats, hanging out with them and partying with them, I appreciate the opportunity that they gave me to join their family.